Hey guys, welcome back. Let's start working on this. For some reason, I don't know if what happened last time, but for some reason the stream crashed. But what I have here is a little portrait we're working on today, and hopefully the stream is going to be working. For some reason, I have tons of issues on on this, and I'm trying to get my Patreon to work at the same time. So just bear with me. Actually, hold on.
All right, guys, welcome back to the stream. So I had some issues last time getting the stream to work. I got to this point, but for some reason it didn't stream that. So hopefully this time is going to be a little bit better. So uh, if you're watching, I'm not sure. I'm still having issues with the excuse me, possible viewers chat, but I'll check once in a while the chat and see if anybody's there. But right now, I did not show this in the live stream because it canceled. And I did put some reference for skulls because that's important as we're sculpting here. This is a portrait. I like to do small studies just because it's more manageable, especially if you don't have a lot of time. I would like to do some full size, but this works pretty well. And we are using oil clay. And excuse me, this is like just a mix of all types of clays. It's mostly Chavant and JMac. It's kind of like waste clay at this point. So I have my reference on my computer. My computer is right over there. And this is the sculpture. And I'm also using my a crochet here, this white piece, which is essentially just a anatomical reference so I can look at, and I'm mostly looking at the head. This is plastic. This is 3D right there. So it's very light. And yeah, where to get started? Let me just check my stream, make sure everything's working good. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm snowed in essentially, but I have to do shoveling. So I've been doing some shoveling outside. That's how you make money. And okay, I'm gonna back. If the stream stops, I don't know, guys. Just let me know. I'm also recording on the camera because last time to this point, I looked at the stream. I was very disappointed. It didn't catch this part because that's kind of when you start to add in the reference. So we're going to start here. I'm going to bring up my reference, and I have my reference on. It's just like a reference board. And on this, hopefully you guys can see the light is not too bad on here. I'm going to add, I'm not sure, I'm not sure what I'll add just yet. I like to sculpt uh, these portraits, any portrait really, with very little reference for the muscles and everything in the beginning. But then I start to pay attention to the muscles. The tools I'll be using are these. Mostly in this area, my little studio, it's very cold. So this doesn't feel that good to carve. That's why you need wire tools. And this model has this temple, and I'm going to make it a little bit more pronounced. In portraits, you kind of want to. Is my mic okay? Let me check that info. Seems okay. I think it is working. I have background music. Maybe it's a little bit too loud. I'll decrease that a bit. So yeah, that's better. Can't really tell much. Oh, we have working well here. Oh, thanks. Appreciate that. Thanks for letting me know. I have no idea the if it works or not because I think I gotta get another screen so I can see things. Hope everybody's doing okay. I'm going to add this bone here. I kind of wish I had more reference up for you guys to see, but so the acceptable or the what is this one called? Jesus. Like usually I know the names of all the landmarks of the skull. When you're doing videos, it's a little easier to kind of like look it up really quick and then mention it. But I know anatomy fairly well. But talking about anatomy is a little bit more difficult. Music isn't no bad. Oh, okay. Yeah, thanks for I turned it down a little bit. One of the complaints about the music is that it's overly loud. I think a lot of it is because I sculpt most of the time alone. I don't usually have an audience, so I put the music a little bit louder. So this part, depending on how much fat the person has, or some people just have fat heads, but this part is actually like a little bit less. And I want to actually showcase this. There's this shape right here, and I'll take this and draw it. Just do that. And then I'm going to dig in because I want this bone, the frontal bone and the parietal bone. I want it to have a visual separation. So the same thing here, like this. This part actually is going to go inside. And, different people have different amounts of padding there on the side. But this particular reference is gaunt. It's like a thin mother. So I want to date this in. And I'm probably going to add a little bit to it, but I want to keep that anatomical reference in there. Yeah, I have earphones on, but it's I can't hear the music. I'm just, one of the weirdest things is that I hate listening to myself. When you put earphones, you kind of listen to yourself. So the zygomatic bone here, it's this bridge. So a little bit further down. So I'm gonna dig that out. On oil clay, you rely a lot on these wire tools. They're very useful, but they don't give you the best type of definition for sculpting. So this part I'm actually going to exaggerate, just because this area is hard to get right. But I just want that definition. So right in here, and you can even dig out a little bit more. One of the dangers of sculpting is that you sculpt and you pretty much add too much too quickly. And over the years, the thing that I've found is that build up slowly. Building up slowly is better. But also as a sculptor, you don't want to remove too much. It takes too long. You want to be an additive sculptor. When you remove, it's kind of like erasing with a pencil. You want to be able to get fast enough that you can just keep adding. So I'm looking at my, I might have to change the lighting so I can see a little bit here. If you don't know, I'm using a Lazy Susan. Make some changes here. That's better. Oh, thanks. Yeah, the skull, if you don't get the skull shape right in the beginning, It's going to be just a downward sculpture, if you know what I mean. It's never going to end up well. So I'm going to turn it from this side because I want to indicate some more stuff here. So this shape, the skull, you don't have to sculpt it exactly. A lot of times people just, they don't need to get too deep into the anatomy of the skull, but I want to get a little bit more because the orbit of the eye, it's not like one single shape. And you can't really tell too much when you are seeing it on the surface. So this diagrammatic arch, so it's out wider here. And this is the danger of oil clay. It's just harder to push around. Imagine if you had water-based clay, you just dig in, move things out. Oh, interesting. So this starts off as a skull, sculpted, then you built the face on top. Well, yeah, this is pretty much as far as I'm going to get with the skull. I'm trying to do a portrait, but it's not a skull sculpture. That would be kind of cool. I do like doing skull sculptures, but when I sculpt, I always try to sculpt the for a portrait. I always do a rudimentary skull. This is kind of like what I would save because from here, if you're doing like a portrait, you should be able to get measurements from here. And it's not too difficult to change things around when you have a skull shape. You kind of push it up and down, take measurements. The problem is with going too fast is that if you start to sculpt the eye really carefully, and then you realize that the eye needs to be moved up, you kind of don't feel like doing any more movement. But, I also like the way it kind of looks, in a way it looks like kind of like a zombie. And I've been watching reruns of The Walking Dead. It's actually like a very fascinating subject, like a zombie. This is not a zombie, by the way. It looks like one. So I have my tub of clay here, and you can put this in the microwave, heat it up, and it becomes really soft. I actually have an oil heater here, and I leave it here, and I get the clay. So the zygomatic arch was like this, and this right there. And I can take my wire tool. I'm just gonna log it out. You don't have to do this. This is for my own benefit, so I can see where things are. And that zygomatic arch actually kind of goes down here, here. And this is really going to be gone, but because of the fat on top of it, it's not going to be as pronounced. So same thing here. It's a little hard. I don't know if you guys heard we got hit by a huge, huge snowstorm. It's not so much snow anymore as it is that ice. I've been meaning to do videos like later in the day, but I could only do it in that time. So I'm like looking at fire here. Nose is very different shape. So I'm holding the nose here as you saw him with the anatomy too much. He's got a big nose. Actually, his nose kind of looks like mine. Mine is meteor. His the bridge is much more pronounced. One of the things that people do is so his chin is pronounced. My lips are pronounced. I a little bit more. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry for clearing my throat for coming down with something. Looking at the profile. I think I'm going to draw in where camera focus. Camera. Oh, hey, camera. There you go. Who knows? We actually may get snow in Central Florida tomorrow. That's crazy. Central Florida. Is that like Jacksonville? I like Florida. Yeah. I would love to have some Florida weather right about now. I'm only like 1,000 miles from Florida. New Zealand. Wow. That's so incredibly warm and set off. But I've seen the snowstorms on the news. I'm not. Yeah. Oh man, New Zealand. That's crazy. Man, that's crazy. I'm always surprised when there people are watching from. We've had like South Africa, Russia. Maybe it's a time slot, but I think Florida is the same time zone. New Zealand. Are you from Orlando? I can't really tell the name, so. Mm. Oh, Libby. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Libby. I've seen your channel. So, yeah, we consider Jacksonville Lower Florida. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I like Florida. I just wish you guys had mountains. Mountains would be nice. They would add a lot. We can bring some mountains over. Yeah. I don't know. I kind of want like mountains, the beach, and sunny weather. I think the only